Now then guys, so you've probably read from the title, an explanation video, kind of why I dropped off from being quite a large content creator to basically someone who very rarely uploads. I don't do anything in the wheelie world whatsoever anymore. And I kind of want to explain it because you know, the whole huge Facebook account and the big YouTube and the big Twitter at the time, obviously I was very proactive from 2012 all the way up to 2020. Then obviously 21 it dropped off. And basically, to sort of cut a very long story short, was obviously we all know what happened in 2020. We had the first world problems with what swept the world, which pulled two large sponsorship deals from myself. And many others. You know, I certainly wasn't one person to just miss out. There was many other people as well. Now, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of naming the brands or everything that pulled the plug on us all, because like I say, there was quite a community of us that got left behind. I don't think it was a tactic, by no means. However, what I did is, from 2019 of doing what I was doing with Whole Shot Racing and other brands at the time, which was super cool, 2020, I basically said to myself, like, you know what? I'm going to have a year off. You know, it was super expensive to the events. It was very difficult to work at the time. Fortunately, I was one of the lucky people who could. But going into 2021, a few sort of OG people might remember that I did have a real bad motorcycle accident on the road, which left me out of work for quite some time in 2021. And obviously physical recovery was very challenging. So, you know, the whole racing thing was out the window. And in 2021, in like late November time, is when I got into doing off-road again for fitness. And that kind of took hold of everything. Now, I know that I spent the majority of the last well over 10 years prior to 2021 in the wheelie world. And I maintained some great friendships from the people that are still in it or have been in it or left for whatever reason. I've met some phenomenal mechanical people, electrical people, and I've got friends for life. But the question that I do want to sort of approach is, will I ever return? Now, to answer the question, there's two answers. One is, would I go back on the turbo bike that I have now, G6R? The answer would be straight no. Would I ever go back? And the other answer would be like, well, yes, but only if I developed a bike so I was able to win. Because in my opinion, there'd be no point in going to race on a motorcycle that has already achieved the best it would ever achieve without probably putting another 15 grand into it to maybe achieve just a few miles an hour more. You know, there is the nose cone that I could do on it rather than being naked, which would push me closer to the 190s, don't get me wrong, and it would. But I'd have to fuel inject the bike. The carburetors and the way that I pushed the bike to the limit, the inconsistencies were massive, and I struggled so much with temperature changes, fuel discrepancies, fuel temperatures, you know, so on and so forth. Everyone that's in the fuel injection world knows how much easier it is to tune. You can work the throttle easier. And I kind of got to a point with the bike where I was just like, do you know what? This bike's 30 plus years old. It's an ornament now. I go out and I ride it as a privilege. And it is a great privilege to own. It's a great privilege to ride and just go to cafes, go and get coffee, sit and talk to people who may still recognize us or enjoy, you know, they recognize the bike, or just they don't know anything and they just talk to me about the bike. And sometimes it's nice. You have some wonderful conversation with some great people of the community. But yes, the only way to go back would be to develop another motorcycle, a Busa, 600 horsepower it, and just go in to win. And simply take a year to 2 years to sort of feed myself back into it and in general want to win. Because when you go to these events, you know, you can't take it lightheartedly. You've got to go at this properly and you've got to really put all of your mindset into it and really, really push. And the difficulty with that is for me is I've started the off-road riding. We've got a wonderful club that we've created. We travel the UK. We probably will be traveling out of the UK in 2025 this year. We do multiple Isle of Man trips. We do Wales very frequently. And it's something I greatly look forward to. And the thought of going back into the wheelie thing kind of just fills me with a little bit of sadness, to be truthful. Not sort of resentment, but definitely along the lines of sadness. And as I say, I kept the Instagram. I got rid of the Facebook and I got rid of the big YouTube account. That is now gone. And I also deleted my ex-Twitter account, which is now X, purely because I don't like seeing what is on the platform. I'm a massive advocate for freedom of speech. I just don't want to see dead kids or children or victims of war like that. I'm a little bit ignorant to that as such. I don't see that as being an issue. I just don't want to see such graphic content. So I don't really know whether to wrap the video up at this point. I probably expect I will get some conversations. I am no longer sponsored, by the way, by anyone. I retired completely at the end of 2021. I gave away all the sponsorships. I maintained for a good number of years Michelin. Michelin motorcycles, especially through 2020, were a phenomenal brand. They worked with me, and prior to that was Puterline Oils. You know, I want to say thank you to both of them. Puterline Oils was owned by Nano Distribution. They sponsored me for many years, and in actual fact did a lot more behind the scenes than anybody actually knows. I won't go into that, but they helped me and a lot of other people, which is pretty cool to save a brand. I was sponsored by the other brand, the main one that people use nowadays, and that was it was a change from me going from Puterline to them. I don't even want to mention their name, and it was kind of rubbish, to be truthful. Promised the world, but that's sponsorship, that's learning. You know, you never get a great one from the first time around. So, but listen, I want to keep this video reasonably short. We're already on 7 however many minutes now. But I do want to thank everybody that kind of supported me from 2012 of me entering my first event. I was 22 years old, all the way into my early 30s, and I had a phenomenal time, and I really felt privileged, and I always will, for what I got through social media as well, the experiences, the people. You know, I lived a lifetime in a decade, basically. This is what my dad says. My family are very proud, and I'm very pleased to be able to walk away, one, with my life, and two, after when it all did collapse, fell into a lot of debt. I have now completely paid that off a few years ago now. And I'm quite free. But one thing I want to say to everybody out there that's got to this point in the video, if you have a dream, and it's anything to do with motorcycles, cars, shooting, whatever, go for it, 100%. 100%. Don't look at me as a way that, oh look, he got to the end of his career and just gave up because it all went wrong at one point. No. Put everything into it, because I tell you what, life is viciously short. And I want to say that to everybody out there, that life is short. If you want a dream and you have something, a goal, go for it. Put everything into it. You know, people say, you know, you've got this to lose, you've got that to lose. Of course you've got. You've got a lot of things to lose sometimes when you're plowing your life into hopes and dreams. But you know what? When you come out the other side, whether you've completed it or not, you should be proud of yourself, of everything that you've achieved throughout that time period that you've spent doing it. There's times where I feel a little bit down, that I wasted time, but then sometimes I sit back then and I look at what I did for other people and what I inspired as well. So, like I say, congrats to everybody that does want to keep going with everything they're doing. It's a very difficult time now in the world, in the UK and everywhere else. There's some horrific places in the world right now and some terrible things happening. But anyway, keep safe, and thank you for watching. Bye now.